I'm Joanne Lynn, and I've focused on healthcare for people coming to the end of life, mostly older adults, for more than 40 years. I'm here to help you understand how disability in old age affects you. And I do mean you, because about 3 out of every 4 Americans will live with serious disability in old age for an average of more than 2 years. This is an important part of our lives. Disability in old age requires personal help for everyday survival. It is generally unremitting and worsening. Medical care focuses upon medical diagnoses like heart failure or cancer, but disability in old age has to focus upon what the person is or is not able to do for themselves. Older adults do tend to lose some hearing and vision early in old age. These and other disabilities make it difficult to manage finances, cooking, and housekeeping, but most people manage to handle this phase with the help of family and friends. What starts to cause serious disability is when the older adult cannot take care of his or her body, accomplishing the everyday tasks we've managed since early childhood. The first serious disabilities usually affect mobility and bathing. These needs are intermittent and somewhat predictable, so help can be scheduled. Obviously, fire safety becomes an issue. Even if you can manage to get from bed to toilet with a walker or a wheelchair, you can't get out of the house in a hurry. The effect upon your psychological state is often more severe. You've been able to get up from a chair and walk over to the refrigerator for longer than you can remember, and now you can't. And you can't comb your hair or shave or take a bath. In federal regulations under HIPAA, a person who is dependent in 2 activities of daily living, such as ambulation and bathing, triggers eligibility for payment if they are among the very few who have long-term care insurance. And in most states, this is also the threshold for Medicaid nursing home care eligibility. When an older person becomes incontinent of urine or feces or cannot manage toileting on their own, that is often enough to overwhelm the volunteer family caregivers. It is just too hard to do all by yourself. In addition, half of us who live past age 85 will have cognitive disability, often made to seem more manageable by calling it memory care. But dementia requires nearly constant attendance by another person because the affected person does not have the insight and judgment to manage ordinary life with reasonable safety. Disability in activities of daily living is much more severe than disability affecting the ability to work. It is disability for brushing your teeth or moving about in your home, and it is very expensive and challenging. There are not very many workers willing to provide this care, especially at the low wages and absent benefits that are commonplace. The cost of around-the-clock care for a person living alone with severe disability is easily around $300,000 a year. Very few can afford that, so we need facilities that make caregiving more efficient and affordable. The 5 FTE of paid caregivers who would be needed for around-the-clock care for one person could provide care for a dozen people in a congregate facility. I'll leave you with a snippet. Oops. So these are the activities of daily living, just as a reminder. And here's a snippet from a colleague named Conrad May, who took Aunt Thelma into his home when she became a very confused hoarder and was bilked out of most of her money. Aunt Thelma has moderate dementia. Aunt Thelma loves to talk, but at this point, she's incapable of holding a meaningful conversation. She asks about her sister Louise. Aunt Thelma, can we give Louise a call? Me, no, Aunt Louise is dead. She passed away 5 years ago. Aunt Thelma, oh. 2 minutes later, Aunt Thelma, is Louise coming for dinner? Me, no, Aunt Louise is still dead. Aunt Thelma, really? How come no one told me? This cycle can go on for hours. It does no good to pretend that Aunt Louise is still alive. Redirect is what Dr. May would have counseled his patients' families, but he, as a caregiver, finds that giving Thelma food or taking her on a walk only works for a very short time. Thelma circles back to her broken record mode. Dr. May goes on to say that being a caregiver himself, he has become more understanding of the plight of caregivers. Taking care of someone with dementia at home has to be one of the most difficult and stressful jobs imaginable. And it is.